I don't know if you can see the changes that have come over me in these last few days. I've been afraid that I might drift away, so I've been telling old stories, singing songs that make me think about where I came from, and that's the reason why I seem so far away today. Let me tell you that I love you, that I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, and now I'm going home. For if I should become a stranger, know that it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've ever had. Kept on moving, proved the points that I needed proving, lost the friends that I needed losing, found others on the way. I have kissed the ladies and left them crying, stolen dreams, yes, there's no denying. I have travelled hard, sometimes with conscience flying, somewhere with the wind. Let me tell you that I love you, that I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, now I'm going home. For if I should become a stranger, you know that it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've ever had. Sitting here before the fire, the empty room, the forest choir, the flames that couldn't get any higher, well, they've withered now, they've gone. But I'm steady thinking, my way is clear, and I know what I will do tomorrow. When the hands have shaken and the kisses flowed, well, I will disappear. Let me tell you that I love you, that I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, and now I'm going home. For if I should become a stranger, know that it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've ever had.
Scottish legend in his lifetime, Dougie Maclean with the classic Caledonia, which some might argue, including myself, should be the national anthem of Scotland, from his album Craigiedo in 1983. So it's an old one. You're listening to The Garden Sessions, gardensessions.co.uk. Contact podcast at gardensessions.co.uk. We're also available on Radio Britfolk, radiobritfolk.co.uk, and 98.8 FM in the Edinburgh area, Leith FM, where Leith lives. I'm Jack Foster, and with me the valiant and valiant of folk music. I'm talking, of course, of Tom Harland and Dave the Angles Gimble.
Bagsy being the one that gets to have an affair with Jessica Rabbit.
I thought that'd be, I'm the one that gets a piano dropped on his head.
Yes. That's your
hard
fate.
lines. Anyway, what's on this week's show, Angles?
All the usual stuff. We've got the folky news, we've got another angle, we've got...
Any hints?
Well, it's got a bit of a sort of a true story behind it. I'm not convinced by this, but some people say it's based on a true story.
You just managed to squeeze out of Angles.
I think we squeezed a hint out
Well,
of
you've been
Angles.
very good for a long time.
We have.
And Angles did bring whiskey around to the bothy.
Indeed.
What's wrong with
feeling
it?
generous.
So we've had a hint. We've also got the chart and the letters bag and the best in new songwriting and traditional folk music.
As ever.
Tom, our featured artist this week.
It's Jed Milroy. I met up with him last week in the Royal Oak. He's a great guy, amazing finger-picking style of guitar, brilliant singer. It'll be a great featured artist, one
Indeed.
to look forward to.
But we have a special premiere now of Frank Burkitt's new tune.
Yes.
Which I believe will be available to buy on the Garden Sessions website. So this is the first time we're premiering something available in the bothy shop. He came in and recorded this a few weeks ago. Indeed, he was stopped by the bothy just before we started the show to borrow a guitar. This one is called Safe and Sound.
Lay in the long grass and whisper me a line or two. I can see the summer days help to bring the words through. As long as there's a haze on the ground, I'm gonna spend every minute I can with you, safe and sound. Some kind of peace with you, I found I'm safe and sound. I'm swept away, blown around by the city breeze. But as long as you're whispering, it won't take long for the pain to ease. And as we see the shadows creeping up the craggy wall, and the deep blue evening sky still impresses us all, some kind of peace with you, I found I'm safe and sound. As I lay back on the hot stone, I'm as happy as a man can be. But we know we'll have to leave this place and head back down to town eventually. But for now we'll sing, we'll drink, we'll talk, and we'll play a merry tune. It's our way of saying goodbye to the sun and hello to the moon. Oh, it's some kind of peace with you, I found I'm safe and sound. away from the haven. It's dark, but I can still make out the grey. So take me home, kiss me goodnight, and wake me up at the return of day. And as the laughter and the sun and warmth all but subsides, I'm feeling all kinds of fine, 'cause with you I'm going inside some kind of peace. With you I found I'm safe and some kind of peace. With you I found I'm safe and some kind of peace. With you I found I'm safe and sound. Safe and sound. Safe and sound.
And that's Frank Burkitt there with Safe and Sound, available to buy in the Bothy shop. If you just go to the Garden Sessions website, gardensessions.co.uk, and click on the Bothy shop in the top left-hand corner.
Please do, the whiskey's running low.
For Frank. Anyway, you're listening to the Garden Sessions at gardensessions.co.uk. Contact podcast at gardensessions.co.uk. We're available on Radio Britfolk, radiobritfolk.co.uk, and 98.8 FM in the Edinburgh area, Leith FM, Angles.
Where Leith lives.
It is indeed. But anyway, Tom.
It's news. It's folk.
What is it, Tom?
It's the folky news.
And the Folky News brought to you this week, as ever, in association with Paddy Bort's Wee Folk Club.
Well, every Sunday night at the Oak, we've got the Wee Folk Club at 8:30. An intimate venue, 30 seats, acoustic. It's a great night out. We've got fantastic musicians and singers. Every Sunday night, do come along.
Sunday the 29th April at the Wee Folk Club. Returning for his second Wee Folk Club appearance this year, Tim O'Leary is in the august company of fiddle player Duncan Wood of Cullen and classically trained folk singer Claudia Wood, and that's at the Royal Oak in Edinburgh, royal-oak-folk.com. These are the headlines. Shetland gears up for its 27th annual folk festival. That's from the 4th to the 6th of May 2007.
Really wish we could get there.
It would be great. It sounds amazing. Entering its 27th year, the UK's most northerly folk festival is regarded as a prestigious event for performers, locals and visitors alike. The festival prides itself in reaching out to even the most far-flung areas of Shetland. Concerts are organised throughout the Isles, consisting of some of the best international, British and Shetland music on offer. In fact, visiting artists are regularly dumbfounded by the quality and quantity of local musicians that the remote Isles have to offer. This year's lineup features Mary Black, Sharon Shannon, Four Men and a Dog, Crooked Still, Terra Folk, Lazy Boy Chair, and many, many more. And that's shetlandfolkfestival.com. Moving on with the folky news. The folk scene, particularly the folk scene in Edinburgh, has often been considered synonymous with pub culture, and Mark Lane of North Carolina has just released the first run of 65 Pubs and Counting, an homage to alcohol and humanity.
Sounds good.
It sounds great. And this is a compendium of reviews of Edinburgh's real, in inverted commas, pubs. His rules were fairly simple. He had to visit each pub at least 4 times.
He had to visit each pub 4 times.
What's 4 times 65?
It's a lot of pints.
Yeah.
More than possibly even I could consume.
260.
Although Garden Sessions insiders, Angles, your mathematics never ceases to amaze me.
That's assuming I'm right.
Garden Sessions insiders.
The Garden Sessions insiders tell us that he has visited the Grand Old Opry of Folk, the Royal Oak, many more than 4 times. So that'll be a few more on.
Certainly many more than 4 times.
Jack spoke to Mark on Sunday at the Oak and asked him why he chose to write this compendium, what surprises he found along the way, and exactly when people can lay their hands on a copy.
I've been fascinated with the pub culture for years, and I've been coming to Edinburgh since 2003, and now that I'm a student at the university, I just had a lot of spare time, and I figured I could take advantage of that spare time.
Would you say that you probably have a better idea of the pubs of Edinburgh now than many locals?
I would say so. At least, the places that have a mood. I know what mood I would direct people to sometimes. Well, surprises, I'm surprised I could actually complete the book after 4 months of visiting every pub that I could. I'm giving free copies to a couple of the youth hostels around town so they can let the temporary travelers, have a guide to Edinburgh. And a couple of pubs are holding it behind the counter, and I'm going to approach the University Press to see if they'd be interested in taking it up.
65 and counting, though. Does this mean that there's more yet to come?
Absolutely. The 65 and counting was the point I had to stop at to travel back to the States for spring break, and as many as I can fit in there, I will until I leave in August. So,
do you have any intention of doing it in any other cities?
Well, there's really not a pub culture in any other city that I can imagine as pure as Edinburgh, though. Certainly not in any city in the States.
65 and counting. I think he had to stop at 65 because he was worried he was going to turn into
a rampant
alcoholic.
The fact that he just had to get back to the States for spring break. There was no option.
That's one of the things you've got to do if you're American.
Anyhow, as soon as Mark gives the book a full release, the Garden Sessions will let you know where you can get a copy. Now, I believe, Jack, that you can also download the Folky News directly from the website.
You can indeed.
In a sort of separate form if you just want to hear mostly my dulcet tones instead of Dave's and Jack's. But keep up to date with all the latest Folky News at gardensessions.co.uk/news, and that's the Folky News.
Well, that's the Folky News. Can mean only one thing. Angles.
The official Garden Sessions download chart. The official Garden Sessions download chart.
This is the official Garden Sessions download chart based on free downloads from gardensessions.co.uk. Good chart this week. We've got 1 new entry, 3 re-entries and 1 non-mover.
Ooh.
So, starting straight off at number 10, it's down 3 for Rantum Scanton with Hush. At 9, it's down 4 for John Dignam with Diamonds. At 8, it's up 2 for Frank Burkitt with the video for What She Would Say.
Looking good.
At 7, it's a new entry for Martin Boland with Practice to Deceive.
I have remembered verse from childhood. What we sow we then receive. Is there a place reserved in heaven for those who practice to deceive? Is there a place reserved in heaven for those who practice to deceive?
Great Orlando.
At 6, it's down 3 for Andy Chung with The Wee Room. At 5, it's a re-entry for Martin Boland again with Dreams in Blue. At 4, it's another re-entry for Frank Burkitt with Military Band.
But I'll play along with all of my might while I think about you crossing off those days and nights, and with every gunshot and blast, think, will you be flying your flag at half-mast?
Featuring Cassandra Steele.
I was just going to say, Angles.
She never seems to get her mention, but Tom and Jack are keeping me sweet on that one. At 3, it's down 2 for the Laurie Watson 3 When Maggie Gags Away, which means we've got a new number 1.
I'm excited.
At 2, it's a non-mover for Andy Chung and the Penny Falls.
Well, it's not Chung.
It's not Chung.
Who is it,
We haven't had any sign of Neil Thompson or Jim Malcolm yet. Could it be they're at number 1? Could it be they've disappeared from the chart completely? Well, it's the latter of the two, because at number 1 it's a re-entry for Tanteerie with Pride of Glencoe.
Nicer.
As I was a-walking one evening of late, where flowers green mantle the fields decorate, I carelessly wandered where I did not know, by the banks of a fountain that falls in Glencoe. Like she who the prize of Mount Ida had won, there approached a wee lassie as fair as the sun, The ribbons and tartans around her did flow, that once won MacDonald the pride of Glencoe. I said, my wee lassie, your enchanting smile and your comely fine features have my heart beguiled. If your kind affections on me you'll bestow, I'll bless the happy hour we met in Glencoe. Kind sir, she made answer, your love I'll disdain, for I have a young sweetheart, MacDonald by name. He went to the war about 10 years ago, and a maid I'll remain till he returns to Glencoe. Perhaps young MacDonald regards not your name, and has placed his affections on some other dame. He may have forgotten, for all that you know, the bonny wee lassie he left in Glencoe. My Donald from his promise would never depart, for love, truth and honour stand firm in his heart. And if I never see him, then single I'll go, and I'll mourn for my Donald, the pride of Glencoe. He finding her constant, he pulled out a glove, which at parting she gave him as token of love. She flew to his arms then, while the tears down did flow. You're welcome, my Donald, the pride of Glencoe. Cheer up now, my Flora, your sorrows are o'er, and while life remains we will never part more. The loud blast of battle at a distance may blow, in peace and contentment we'll live in Glencoe.
Tanteerie, Pride of Glencoe, former Garden Sessions featured artist and Garden Sessions #1.
Great song, well done to Tanteerie.
They haven't scored a #1 since Duncan Gray, I think it was.
It was.
Just after they featured on the show. Angles. Can you give us just one more clue before we find out what your angle is? Just tease us a little bit more.
You're about to find out.
No, go on.
You want another clue?
Yeah.
That you're about to find out.
I want to try and guess.
Okay. I told you it was supposed to be based on a true story.
Mm-hmm.
It's also got a bit of a Western theme.
A Western theme? As in Western culture?
No, as in
the
Wild Wild.
Oh, really? We're getting more and more out of angles.
Yeah, we're drawing a lot out of you this week.
Well, I'm feeling generous. I'm feeling generous this week. I think next time it's going to have to be a bit of a clamp down on the hints.
Anyway, I don't have a clue. Dave, what's your angle?
The angle this week is a song by Steve Tilson, performed here by Claire Mann and Aaron Jones, and it's Slit Jigs and Reels.
He was fairly man in his grandfather's coat, sewn into the lining a 10-shilling note. Farewell to my family, farewell to the shore. Till I see good fortune, you'll see me no more. The boat on the ocean hit up like a cork. And then one fine morning they sighted New York. He stood on the gangway and breathed in the air. Hello, land of plenty, I've come for my share. But he did like the ladies and the rise and the fall of their ankles and dresses out on the dance floor, rolling the dice and spinning the wheel. But he took most delight in the subjects and reels. star-covered pistol, some say knife. But all are agreed there was somebody's wife. Some kind of commotion, a terrible fight. He left a man dead and run into the night. A train to St. Louis, just one jump ahead. He slept one eye open, his 6 gun in bed, and he dreamed of the mountains and the green fields of home, while crossing the plains where the buffaloes roam. But he did like the ladies and the rise and the fall of their ankles and dresses out on the dance floor, rolling the dice and spinning the wheel. But he took most delight in the searches and reels. Oh, bad reputation is a hard thing to bear. The mothers pour scorn while the children they stare. But he took great delight in flash company. Life ain't so bad with a girl on the knee. Yes, they called him the kid, and by 21 all that he knew was the power of the gun. And by 23 he had shot 5 men down. He got him his way as he rambled round. But he did like the ladies and the rise and the fall of their ankles and dresses out on the dance floor, rolling the dice and spinning the wheel. But he took most delight in the searches and reels. There's bones in the desert and buzzards that fly in the highest of circles, just wishing he'd die. But in matters of cruelty, it must be said, a landlord will pick your bones before you're dead. It was wild mescaleros, I heard a man say, in a murderous gunfight near Santa Fe. A young man was taken, still wearing coat, sewn into the lining tension. But he did like the ladies and the rise and the fall of their ankles and dresses out on the dance floor, rolling the dice and spinning the wheel. But he took most delight in the searches and reels.
From the album Secret Orders, Claire Mann and Aaron Jones, Slip, Jigs and Reels.
Good choice, Angle. It's a great song.
Dave, what's your angle?
Well, first of all, as I said, there's people who say it's sort of loosely based on a true story, which is
Billy the Kid.
The story of Billy the Kid. Yeah. Now, I have my problems with this theory, which I shall call up. I have the history, the Billy the Kid story here in front of me to refer to.
Okay.
And I shall call up the problems during the angle.
I'm grateful to you for that.
Yeah, I thought you would be.
This week,
I thought you would be. Right. Well, it starts off with this guy anyway, and he's quite young. He's barely a man, and he's standing there, and his grandfather's got this sort of hand-me-down jacket.
Is that Billy the Kid?
Well, Billy the Kid leaving Ireland.
Supposedly, although Billy the Kid not being from Ireland would probably make it not him.
Okay.
And anyway,
Right.
sewn into the lining of the jacket is this 10 shilling note. It's all the money he has, and he says goodbye to his family.
I suppose he's right, though. So if it's not Billy the Kid, then it's has to look a bit silly.
So he's sent off with just 10 quid in his pocket. He says goodbye to his homeland and all that kind of stuff. And he says that he won't come back until he's
a pair
found
of blues.
We're going to get on with this.
Sorry.
He says he's not coming back home until he's sort of found his fortune kind of thing. So he heads off in this boat, heading off on the ocean, until eventually one day they see New York in the distance. And he sort of, boat pulls into New York, and he gets off the boat, and he's standing there, and he's breathing in the fresh sort of American air, the air of freedom kind of thing. And he says,
How swiftly things change.
"Hello, land of plenty, I've come for my share. So, I've come to make my fortune in America," kind of thing. And then it goes into the refrain, which is, and he did like the ladies and the rise, the fall, their ankles, dresses out on the dance floor. It's basically saying,
he was a ladies man.
But he was a bit of a ladies man, and a bit of a wheeler dealer, a bit of a gambler. He liked the dice.
Okay.
Anyway,
he likes the ladies.
He likes the ladies. He likes to gamble. So that's kind of going to interfere with him finding his fortune. And then it sort of skips forward a bit in his lifetime, and there's this sort of rumours, this gossip about pistols and knives, but everyone agrees that someone else's wife was involved. So he's got himself into some kind of trouble, some sort of
as a
commotion.
result of his love for the ladies.
Some warped love triangle.
Exactly. But the outcome of this is that he sort of runs off, and there's a man lying dead. So obviously he's committed his first murder, and that's what sends him down the slippery slope to evil.
Right.
So he's sort of travelling around, he's hiding out, he's trying to not get caught. He's on this train to St. Louis, and he's sort of sleeping with one eye open with a gun in his bed, under his pillow.
Clearly paranoid as hell.
Yeah. And he's desperately thinking, I wish I could get back to the way it was.
The miles in the green fields of home.
Exactly, yeah.
The Emerald Isle.
But he is in fact crossing the plains
exactly,
for the buffalo
and then
roam.
It says again that he has all these dreams of an easy, nice, kind life, but at the same time, his love for the ladies and gambling is going to kind of interfere with that.
Does he have any Indian chieftains after him?
He probably does. Like that Broken Arrow movie.
Sleeping with their squaws.
As they're not mentioned in the song, though, let's stick to the lyrics.
Yes, let's. That's probably a good idea.
A bad reputation's a hard thing to bear.
Yeah.
Discuss.
Well, basically, what it's saying is that, and then it explains that...
seems familiar.
Well, then it explains that he was known by the kid as the Kid. They called him the Kid, which is probably where this Billy the Kid stuff comes from.
Who else was called the Kid back in the West?
Well, now hear me out, you see, because it says, and by 21, all that he knew was the power of the gun. Fine, so
Sundance Kid.
He's turned 21 and he's become a proper sort of Western rapscallion kind of cowboy scoundrel kind of guy.
I was going to say David Crockett.
But then it says...
No Bush
no, there wasn't.
Cassidy,
no,
just the Sundance Kid or Billy the Kid.
Or Billy the Kid. So it's one or t'other. Maybe it's about the Sundance.
Well, it could
Which
be.
is
It could just be that they're using the sort of name the Kid just to suggest that it's a Western thing.
Onward ho.
Because it goes on to say that by 23 he's shot 5 guys. Now Billy the Kid killed 21 people, and it says here 1 for each year of his life. So he died at 21. So it can't be him.
He didn't kill them in every year.
You have to give it to Angles. He has done research.
But it couldn't have been him because he died at 21 and this guy is 23.
Right.
Okay. So it's not Billy the Kid.
No, it's not.
Clearly, patently.
It can't be Billy the Kid.
Or Steve Tilson just has got his facts mixed.
Could almost be worth a competition.
Could be.
So
who's the song about?
Who's the song about?
What's up for grabs? A Junction Pool CD.
Junction Pool CD, yeah.
A debut CD. It's a fantastic one. You can read the review of it on the website.
Folk fusion.
If you can work out what this song's about, Slip, Jigs and Reels. Anyway,
it carries on. It basically says he's on the run. He's got this kind of hard life, and he's wandering through the desert, and he's having a hard time, and all that kind of stuff. And eventually, basically, what happens is there's this story going around about some guy getting taken in an ambush by the cops, and he was.
Is it our friend?
He was dressed in a coat which had a £10 note sewn into its lining.
Clean tenner. It all comes back.
He never spent it then.
It's not a clean tenner anymore, Jack. It's got blood on it. That's the thing.
Why didn't he spend it?
It was sewn into the lining of his coat. It was kind of, it was
just a last resort kind of thing.
I believe it was some
I was
symbolic.
Just whip it
tenor.
out to buy a couple of lordish drinks for one of these ladies.
Some rough whiskies in one of the brothels of the Wild West of America.
Surely
yes,
his addictions can't have been that bad. Yeah, he managed to steer clear of spending that tenner. Anyway, what's the moral?
Well, the moral of this one is that if you live life by your vices, if you're controlled by your vices, eventually your life's going to become terrible, and then you're going to seek solace in your vices, and it's a vicious circle. So you should be happy and don't shoot people.
Is this angle aimed at me? Is this moral aimed at me?
You said it, Tim. Dave, is that your angle?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And with the angle done for another week, another classic Slip, Jigs and Reels, and it was performed by Claire Mann and Aaron Jones.
I did like that one. I do like that one.
You're listening to The Garden Sessions, gardensessions.co.uk, podcast at gardensessions.co.uk. Tom, we're also available on
Leith FM, 98.8 FM, where, Jack?
Leith lives. Yes. And Angles, we're also available on
Radio Britfolk. It's radiobritfolk.co.uk.
It is indeed. And it's time, I believe, for the Garden Sessions Letters Bag.
Garden Sessions Letters Bag.
Yes.
You see, you weren't expecting that.
No.
I wasn't expecting that.
A cheeky surprise from the production team.
Jingles Burkitt does it again.
Frank's
His appearance in the bothy earlier on was just a portent for greater things to come.
Well, I think I've got the first letter here. Dear Garden Sessions, congratulations on sexing up the Garden Sessions.
Whoa!
I have been logging on for a long time, hoping as my eyes scanned across the disappointing bar of black and white images that there might be someone easier on the eye than Jack, Angles and Tom, in no particular order.
Oh, well, that's okay then.
Now, at last, though, there is a buxom, sun-kissed beauty. She is too hot for folk. And that's from Marion Pax in Edinburgh. That's, of course, a reference to our new face of the Garden Sessions, who can be found on the website, who incidentally is Cassandra Steele, who did the backing vocals on Military Band, Frank Burkitt's hit.
One for the trivia buffs.
Indeed.
I've got a letter here from Ghislaine and Aurore from France. And they write, Dear Garden Sessions, we were in Edinburgh a few days ago and went to the Royal Oak. And we enjoyed it a lot. And thanks to this site, I can listen again to Scottish folk music, and that is great. Thank you, Tom.
Fantastic.
It's all down to Tom.
Angles, you got the last one there?
I do. I've got the last one here. It says, hi, y'all. So we instantly know this is from
We're
American.
dealing with an American
Indeed, indeed.
Presumably the Deep South.
I used to go to the Royal Oak all the time and enjoy the music. Now I'm back in the States, and Lord, please drink a lot of whiskey for me, and then pray because I'm surrounded by Americans, and it scares even me.
I can manage that.
Living in the mountains and have a full whack of good music. I check into your sessions. There you go, there's the abbreviation again.
Yes.
Another abbreviation.
It's spreading.
It's catching on.
And listen all the time. My favourite song from the Oak, Black is the Colour, and I haven't found it or heard it.
Great
Could you
song.
please play it on the show? I would truly appreciate it, and I'm counting down the days until I can return to Edinburgh and enjoy y'all again. Thanks, cheers. That's from Lily Lancaster in New Orleans.
Oh,
We really wanted to play Black is the Colour, and we do have a lovely version by Gordon Scott, but unfortunately we're really short on time and we just can't slot it in this week. But next show, we will play it.
And Lily will hear it in her mountain retreat.
Indeed, we can offer up some music in the form of Black is the Colour. But anyway, if you want to send us a letter for the letters bag, we'd love to know what you're thinking. It's podcast at gardensessions.co.uk. And you can also find out more information about the Garden Sessions on gardensessions.co.uk, which has all sorts of things, angles, there's... What is there?
So many treats.
There's the free downloadable music,
There's
the
folky news,
Reviews,
indeed.
Yeah, news. We've had news already.
No
There's
Dave's
so
Angle,
much news.
No Dave's Angle lyrics just yet.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
And there's also playlists.
More folk
and
than you can shake a stick at.
playlists and show notes for all the shows that have ever been done on the Garden Sessions. 29 of them to date. It's time though for this week's featured artist, Tom.
It's Jed Milroy.
Daylight, daylight, you know I need it. Like for water I don't drink. Daylight, daylight, can hardly reach it. Like a fruit I couldn't pick. Daylight, daylight, you know I need it. Like for water I don't drink. Daylight, daylight, can hardly reach it. Like a fruit I couldn't pick. When daylight turns, tonight I'm gonna be a lucky one. Till nightlife turns to daylight, daylight, you know I need it. Like for water I don't drink. Daylight, daylight, can hardly reach it. Like a fruit I couldn't pick.
That was Jed Milroy playing Daylight, and I'm downstairs in the Royal Oak pub with Jed at the moment. You're listening to the Garden Sessions, www.gardensessions.co.uk. Jed, welcome to the show.
Hello.
And you do, on your MySpace, describe yourself as Nick Drake after therapy.
Yeah. I do think that I try to have a positive message in everything I do, in life anyway. But because I think it's good to try and keep things up and try and look towards the brighter side of things, rather than just knocking everything down and trying to build things up. And
so you're what Nick Drake might have been like.
If he'd been a bit more cheerful, maybe. Yeah, I think it's the finger-picking thing that really I associate with Nick Drake.
Yeah.
And maybe my voice is quite posh in English, which is constantly a painful thing for me. But
living up in Scotland, it's going to be trouble now, isn't it?
I always describe myself as being English in exile.
So what other have you got any other 60s folk influences from that era?
Well, I'll tell you who I really love is Nick Jones.
Nick Jones.
But he actually, I was reading Nick Jones's website the other day, and apparently he just doesn't like any of the stuff he did back in the 60s now, or 60s and 70s, and because he was Nick Jones, great English folk singer, and amazing folk guitarist, and the benchmark for many people of like English folk guitaring in the revival, and he just thinks it's all, wasn't very good now, and he thinks it was silly to be playing folk songs, and he should have been playing songs which were more up to date and more relevant to his life. And so he's done with it. I mean, he had a car crash, of course, and hasn't played for years. And I think he's started playing again, but he's not playing folk music anymore. He thinks it's all silly, and I can see where it comes from. I mean, it is a bit silly in some ways, but again, I love it. And so Nick
there's
Jones,
certainly strong folk influences in your music, you'd say. That.
Yeah. So well, there's Nick Jones, obviously. John Martin's been a big influence. Bert Jansch, any of those kind of Fairport,
all the great 60s.
Yeah, Steel Eye Span and all those kind of people.
Jed, Richard Branson's Isle. Discuss.
Well, this is a long story, and I'll try and cut it down as much as I can. I was peddling the rickshaws in Edinburgh. You might have seen him.
Oh yeah.
And this couple got on, and I said, giving it the chat, what you do in Edinburgh. They said, we're looking for a musician for our Caribbean island. I just finished university, and I was like,
perked up.
I was like, wow, I was wondering what I was going to do with the rest of my life. There it is. So they said, come out, without even listening to me play. I couldn't believe it.
No way. And, you must have sold yourself well, Jay.
I didn't. I think more than anything else, they just didn't really. They weren't really that bothered. And so I ended up flying out there, and there's a long story about all that, and ended up there anyway via Cameroon, and. In the British Virgin Islands, on a 1 acre island with 10 people and a donkey and 3 cats, 4 dogs, a couple of parrots. The donkey committed suicide. That was quite a shocking moment. And
how did the donkey commit suicide?
It drowned itself.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
And that's because it was unloved and hated life. It used to try and kill people and things, children especially. It was trying to.
Did you write an upbeat song about it, did you?
No, I didn't. I could feel nothing but pity for Bottom, the donkey. This was his name.
I used to ride him around, but then eventually he bit me in the shoulder, and I gave up trying. I thought I almost lost my ability to play the guitar. Actually, it's quite a hard bite, donkeys.
But this was Richard Branson.
No, this wasn't Richard Branson. Anyway, one day there'd been basically the job involved. I got the job description. It was wanted musician for restaurant on its own Caribbean island, free food, accommodation, and booze, $50 a gig, great surf, sun, and sand. I was just like, bloody hell. I took it anyway. And then obviously was drunk the whole time I was there, basically, because tequila is cheaper than water. That's no joke. No. And so I was just pissed. And one afternoon, about 5 o'clock, I was, in bed still, and knock came on the door. Jed, you're on stage in 15 minutes. Richard Branson's here. I was like, what? Got up, tried to put my trousers on. I was too drunk to stand on one leg to get my trousers on. That took me about 10 minutes. I finally staggered out. The barman takes his sunglasses off and puts them on me and says, keep them on, you'll scare the children. So I staggered up onto the stage. It was not a pretty picture, but...
Oh, it's grim performing when you're hungover.
But anyway, played. It went really well, and Richard Branson and the rest of his crew really liked it. Necker Island, which is Richard Branson's island, is very near to where the island that I was on. It was about 10 miles away or something. So he invited us all over for a party to go and play at his twin nephew's 18th, I think it was. So we all went over about a month later to play on his island, and he sent a jet boat over, and we closed the restaurant for the night, and we all got in and went over.
Did you get treated in absolute luxury?
You can imagine what it was like. I mean, 10 complete alcoholics, let rip on the free, costly booze.
It sounds brilliant.
But basically, a great thing was Peter Gabriel was there as well, and I didn't even know who he was, and I wouldn't have recognised him. Sat playing with him for about an hour before I even realised who it was. I was playing Salisbury Hill.
All of these anti-corporate songs, and here you are, Lord and Richard Branson's Island.
I know, I thought the same thing. Pretty bad, isn't it? But anyway, I just drank his booze.
Well, we're going to hear your last song now. That's going to be called I Worship Nothing, which we've played in a slightly different form, a different arrangement earlier on the Garden Sessions. Could you tell us a wee bit about that song?
Well, I Will Worship Nothing is fairly self-explanatory in its chorus. The verses are really... I wrote it when I was in the Caribbean, and there was a lot of very rich people who were sort of very trapped in the money means everything mentality. And so the initial kind of first part of the song is about money, really, and about people worshipping money and consumerism. So, I mean, you can see a theme through all my songs with that. And then later on in the song, it's talking about... the media, the sirens whispering on the radio, as in like the Greek mythology of sirens, and using sex in marketing and stuff, and also at the end there's a little bit about religion, and also alcohol. It's like the wine, the holy sacrament, and also booze. Generally, it's just a general thing about trying to. I mean, myself, I don't believe in any higher being or anything else other than pretty much what we've got. So I'm well into just trying to enjoy life for what we have right here in front of us and enjoy it to the full. That's my philosophy.
Well, a great message for Jed Milroy to play us out with. It's been a pleasure having you on the Garden Sessions, and I look forward to the next time you're down in a session in the Royal Oaks. I can sing along with I Worship Nothing again. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks
Jed
a lot.
Milroy.
Absolute pleasure. Pissing on my fire, you're fucking up my show, you interrupt my flow, lie in wait for me with the dust beneath my bed, trying to get ahead of me, but I will worship nothing, I will worship nothing, I will worship nothing. You're writing off my day before I've begun. You're taking back my name, you're taking back my song. You're lying wait for me, you're holding me back, you're leading me astray. But I'll fight you in the night, I'll
fight you till I fall. Beneath the bread line and the headlights and the street signs and the street lights. Give me some more money so I can buy a coffee, so I can buy a secret, so I can buy another part of me. Have you seen a rainbow, or have you seen just rain and sun shining on me? But I will worship nothing. 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 And I'll fight you in the night. I'll fight you till I fall. Beneath the bread line and the headlights and the street signs and the street lights. Have you heard the sirens whispering on the radio, coming down the airwaves? You should have seen them rock on TV. Come on, drink your wine up. Does it fill a hole? Does it feel any better that you know where you're going when you go? But I will worship nothing. 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 I will worship nothing.
Featured artist Jed Milroy, and gotta say, what a nice guy and what an amazing performer as
Indeed, and Jed did want us to stress that Richard Branson is a lovely man. Neither myself, Tom, or Angles have ever met him, so we couldn't comment. But
even if Richard Branson is a folkie and is listening, then, you know, sort out the trains.
Podcast.
I know it sounds like it's a little bit earlier than normal, folks.
Yeah.
But we have a good bit of extra time here, and we have realised that we can indeed play Black is the Colour, as requested by Lily Lancaster from New Orleans.
Whose version have we got?
Gordon Scott's, of course. We'll play out with that then. Till next time, gardensessions.co.uk, podcast at gardensessions.co.uk, also available on
Radio Britfolk, radiobritfolk.co.uk, and 98.8 FM in the Edinburgh area, Leith FM, where Leith lives.
Indeed. Angles, what's on next week's show?
Next week's show, everything you can always expect. The featured artist, the folky news, another angle. We'll have the download chart. Will Tanteerie still be at number one?
Who knows? Till then, from myself, Jack Foster, Tom Harland, Dave the Angles Gimble, take it easy.
Catch you later down the folky trail.
Cheerio.
Black is the colour of my true love's hair. Her lips are like some roses fair. She's the sweetest smile, the gentlest hand, and I love the ground whereon she stands. I love my love, and well she knows, and I love the ground whereon she goes. I wish the day soon would love and I can be as one. Black is the color of my true love's hair. Her lips are like some roses fair. She's the sweetest smile, the gentlest hands, and I love the ground whereon she stands. I go to the Clyde and I'm mourn and weep, but satisfied I ne'er shall be. I write her a letter, just a few short lines, suffer death 10,000 times. Black is the color of my true love's hair. Her lips are like some roses fair. She's the sweetest smile, the gentlest hands, and I love the ground whereon she stands. And I love the ground whereon she stands. And black is the color of my true love's hair.